Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video I will be painting my last seascape in this seascape series that I started a couple of weeks ago. This is actually the 5th video, and if you haven't seen the previous one, make sure to go and check them out. I think you will learn a lot from them and do some practice on your seascapes. In this one we will be painting a sunset over the sea with a tree in the foreground, and the tree will be actually a silhouette painted only in neutral black. First I started off with making my sketch, and I just made a sketch where my waves are going to be and where the horizon line is, and I think that will be enough for the sketch. Next thing I did is pre-wet the entire paper, and I started off from the top of my sky with the Azure, and going downwards I used cadmium yellow medium, and in the lowest part of my sunset I used cadmium red light mixed in with cadmium yellow medium and Mother Lake red light. With that mix I also painted downwards into my sea to make with it my first layer that I will build upon with Azure. And as you can see, I'm using Azure on the right side and going into the places where my waves are going to be, where I sketched my waves. With a tissue, I'm picking up the paint for clouds in the upper part of the sky and also a little bit downwards. In my opinion, that is actually the easiest way to get the cloud shapes in your sky. But you just have to make sure that your paint is still wet when you're doing it. While the paper is still wet, I'm going backwards into my sea and adding a little bit more of Azure on the corners, on the sides of my paper and in the part where my waves are going to be, and also adding a little bit of that reddish mix into the part where the reflection from the sun is going to be. When the paper completely dried, I just used a clean water to pre-wet the part where my sky is, and right now with a Venetian red and sepia, and also mixed in with cadmium red light and cadmium yellow medium, I'm going backwards and painting in the clouds. And of course, if you don't have these colors, actually the colors I got from the mix is a darker orange, so you can use any darker orange or maybe mix of some warmer red and yellow for your clouds. And with that mix I'm painting in the parts where I picked up the paint with my tissue paper and have the white of the paper sticking through. As you can see, I'm just topping in the clouds with the tip of my smaller round brush and leaving the paint to spread, to bloom and make the shape of the clouds. With the cadmium yellow medium, I'm painting the bottom of my clouds to make them look as they are highlighted by the sun, and the top of my clouds I'm painting in with the indigo color to make them look as they're in the shadow from the sun. I turned my paper upside down because it's actually easier for me to paint the straight horizon line that way, and I added a little bit of Mother Lake red light into my indigo and painted the clouds at my horizon line. After that I turned it around and with a clean water, I just prevented the part just above my horizon line, clouds that are in horizon line, and tapped in a little bit of that mix of color, and also again a little bit of orange at the top of that to make it look like it is going upwards and spreading from the horizon line. I also noticed that my clouds are a little bit too light, so I added another layer of orange and a little bit of indigo at the top. After that, I used a larger round brush that I dipped just slightly into water and dry it on my towel. And dry brushing the texture to the sea, I'm just adding a little bit of that blue at the sides of my sea. After that, with a smaller round brush, I'm painting in the waves and on the lines that I sketched earlier. And I did not prevent the paper this time because I want the line to be harsher, but just the top of my line I do want to be a little bit smoother. So after painting it, I used just a little bit clean water on my brush and smoothed that upper side of the wave, and again adding just a little bit more of that indigo color. In the same way, I painted the other waves also. Again, with a smaller and dry brush, I'm adding a little bit of texture to my sea. I want the part of the waves that are in the shadow the most to be darker, so I'm adding a little bit more of indigo. And I am using a different pressure with my brush, just pressing it harder, a little bit harder on the paper and then a little bit lighter, because I want some parts to be a little bit thinner and some parts a little bit thicker. And now I see that I want my reflection from the sky to be a little bit more saturated, a little bit more darker. So I'm adding that orange in a middle part of the sea, and later on just smudging it with a little bit of indigo in my brush. Also, now that it's dry, I see that the clouds at my horizon line are also a little bit too light for my preference, so I added a little bit more of the mix of indigo and Mother Lake red light. After that, I'm using a white gouache to paint the tops of my waves, and not really all the way, but just here and there. I'm tapping in with my old fizzled and ruined brush. I'm just tapping in that white gouache to make the impression that waves are crashing there into the sea. And since some parts of my waves got lost under the white gouache, I'm just adding it with tip of my smaller round brush and making the darker parts of the bottoms of my waves. When the paint on my sea and sky completely dried, I'm painting in the silhouette of the tree, and as I said earlier, I'm using neutral black. With the tip of my dagger brush, I'm adding in some leaves, and for that you can also use any round brush, and just with the tip of that brush tap in the leaves. And later on I will just also sprinkle some paint, some neutral black, to add a little bit more of leaves looking like they are going away from the tree. With last couple of details, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. Thank you guys a lot for watching, for all your support. And even though I said this is the last one in this seascape series, it doesn't mean that I won't paint any more seascapes. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it, share it, comment, tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see maybe in the future. And if you haven't still, please subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot to me. And well, I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!